Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I have not filmed in probably about 3 months at this point, and I just want to start out by saying the break from YouTube was not intentional. It just kind of happened. And as you've seen in the description of the video already, I am pregnant. And that is really the biggest reason that I have not been on YouTube, because my first trimester was pretty difficult and I didn't feel up to filming. I felt like I slept the entire first trimester away, and I just didn't get back to filming until today. So in today's video, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about some life updates. I wrote down everything that I want to talk about because I know that if I don't follow this, I'll just start rambling a lot and this video will be possibly really long. Let's just get into the updates before I get distracted. So like I said, the reason I took a break from YouTube, it was not intentional, it just happened. But backing up to the time right after the last video that I uploaded, which was a pack with me for our trip to Missouri to celebrate Christmas with my family. So that was back in the middle of December that I uploaded this video. So it's now March 7th, I think. And so yeah, it's been a while since I've been on here. But anyway, that trip was amazing. I actually planned on doing a travel vlog, and I did take some videos of our flight and like us in the airport and driving to the airport and stuff like that. And I might insert a couple of those clips here, but I didn't end up filming at all while I was in Missouri because I just decided, you know what, I want to focus on this very short amount of time that I had to spend with my family without having the distraction of constantly trying to film everything. So I didn't end up doing a travel vlog, but actually while we were in Missouri is when we found out that I am pregnant. So we were at my parents' house and it was the last full day that we were there. And basically, long story short, I wanted to take a pregnancy test because I had been overthinking a lot and I thought maybe I could be pregnant, but deep down I kept telling myself, no, there's no way that I'm pregnant. It's just like it didn't happen yet or whatever. And so I told my husband that I was overthinking it and thinking like maybe I'm pregnant, but I'm probably not. So the reason I told him is because I really truly did not believe that I was pregnant. I was like sure that I wasn't pregnant. So that's why I told him, because otherwise I would have tried to take the test on my own so I could surprise him and do a cute announcement for him. But anyway, I told him that I was going to take the test, and I took it that afternoon of the last day that we were in Missouri, and it was positive, and I was like in shock. I can't even describe the way I felt. I just kept staring at the test like, is this really happening? Am I even reading it right? I actually went out into the bedroom where my husband was waiting for me, and I closed the door because my family was in the rest of the house and I didn't want any of them knowing what was going on. And so I closed the door and he's like, "Are you pregnant?" And I was like, "I think so." And I showed him the test. And I was like, sorry, I'm fiddling with this pen. I should probably put it down. But I asked him to find the box that the test came in because I was like, I'm sure I'm reading it wrong. It's probably negative and I'm just reading it wrong. But I was reading it right. It had 2 lines. It was definitely a positive test. And in that moment, I think both of us were in shock, and we hugged and cried and we were happy, but we just didn't really know like how to feel. It was like, it didn't feel real yet. It was just like we just didn't know what to do with ourselves, basically. And so after probably 10 or 15 minutes of us just kind of being in shock together and enjoying that moment of finding out, I was like, so should we tell our family right now? Because we were in Missouri, which is where my side of the family lives, and I knew that it would be a long time before I would get to see them in person again. And so I was like, either we tell them right now or we don't get to tell them in person. And of course, my husband wanted me to be able to tell them in person, so he said that we could tell them. So we went out into the rest of the house, and everyone who was home was actually taking a nap at the time except for my mom. She was laying on the couch, and I was like, are you awake? Like really hoping that she was, because I wanted to tell her. She's like, yeah, I'm awake. And then she sat up, and then I was like, well, there's something that we need to tell you. And I showed her the test, and she kind of looked at it for a second, and it took her a minute to realize what it was, but she was very excited. And then I asked her a bunch of questions like, so what do we do now? Like, I was just totally in shock, and like, I just didn't know what to do with myself. So I asked her some questions, and she talked to me about like what the next steps are, and she talked to me about her pregnancies and how like she typically started having symptoms a few days after she found out she was pregnant, which ended up being the same way for me. But anyway, we sat and talked with her for a while, and I won't give you too many details, otherwise this will be way too long. But we ended up telling my dad a few minutes later when he got up from his nap, and then we went over to my sister's house that night for dinner, and so we told her and her husband, and they had just had a baby at this point, so that was really exciting. And then we told my other sister and her husband. That sister was also pregnant at the time, so that was exciting. And then they were all super thrilled and happy, which another just little funny thing is that, oh, before I say this, actually, I forgot. Right after we told my mom, we went back to the bedroom that we were staying in, and we FaceTimed my husband's parents because we wanted to tell them all like as much at the same time as we could. So again, we would have preferred to tell them in person, but we had to like decide, okay, do we tell them right now so that they know at the same time, or do we wait so we can tell them in person? But if we wait, it would have been like a month or two, so we didn't want to wait, so we FaceTimed them to tell them, and they were obviously really excited as well. But anyway, the way I told basically everyone was just showing them the test, and it was one of those cheap like dollar store tests, so it was like the little square one, and it just had the 2 lines on it, and everyone was kind of just confused at first, like, what is that? And then I would say like, it's a pregnancy test and it's positive, and then they would get really excited. But anyway, that was such a fun day, and it's like, I can't even describe how my husband and I felt that day. It was just like this feeling of we're so excited, but it hasn't like hit us yet that it's actually real. But it was a wonderful day, and we were so happy and thrilled and just so excited. But the next day, or the next morning, really early, is when we flew home to Alabama. And while we were in the airport, actually, we went ahead and called or FaceTimed the rest of the family members that weren't there in person, so that we could tell everyone that we were pregnant. So that's how we told all of our family. They all got to know like literally minutes after we found out, so that was kind of special. At first I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to do a cute announcement with our families, but I don't know, it was just kind of special the way it happened anyway. So that was that. Our trip to Missouri was obviously very eventful in that way. And then later that month, we ended up going to Georgia on an unexpected trip to celebrate Christmas with my husband's family. So we thought that we wouldn't be able to go to Georgia because we had already taken time off for the trip to Missouri, and we had already went to Georgia for Thanksgiving. So anyway, we didn't think we would get to go, but the Lord ended up working it out to where we were able to spend Christmas Day with my husband's family. So that was really nice. And we had a great time there with them as well. And during that time that we were there, I started having symptoms that were becoming a little bit more intense, not too bad still, but the nausea was like really starting to pick up in that time. And also the tiredness. I had already been struggling with feeling really tired for weeks at this point. But then when we were there for Christmas, even that like intensified, and I just felt like I was sleeping all the time, and I felt bad because we were there to spend time with them, but I was just so tired all the time. So that's what happened then. And then I'm gonna look at my notes so I don't forget anything. Oh, the same week as Christmas. So Christmas was on a Sunday, I think. Yeah, it was on a Sunday. And then I think it was that Tuesday, we had a youth conference that my husband and I took our teenagers to. So during this time, wow, my symptoms got bad. I think maybe I just put too much pressure onto my body at this point because, you know, I was very, very early pregnant and super tired and starting to deal with that nausea and stuff. And we had made that trip to Georgia. We had just gotten home. My husband and I celebrated our little Christmas when we got home, and then like the next day we had this youth conference that was all day long, and then it went for 3 days. So it was like early mornings, late nights. It was just crazy. We were both tired, even just from like the trip and then going straight into that. But during this time, like my nausea started getting really bad. And with being at the conference, basically the eating schedule was not the best for a pregnant woman in her first trimester, because what kind of helps with nausea, at least for me, was to keep my stomach full, even if I wasn't eating necessarily full meals, but to eat like little bits throughout the day. And during that conference, that was impossible. And I just ended up feeling super sick the whole time, but I pushed through and made it through the conference. But like the day that we got home after the conference, I was so sick. Like that was the most intense that my nausea, I guess, morning sickness was the entire first trimester. And I was just so tired. I literally like didn't get off the couch for probably a week, close to 2 weeks. Like it was rough. And during that time that I was feeling so sick was the first time that I threw up, which thankfully I only threw up a total of 4 times in the first trimester. And because of that crazy week with the conference and how sick I felt afterwards, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than that, and that I was going to have really bad morning sickness. But thankfully, I really just struggled with nausea for the most part and didn't actually throw up very much, which was great, even though the nausea itself was not fun. But anyway, I guess I'll talk about some more of my first trimester symptoms and kind of how that went. So basically, the biggest struggles that I had was the nausea, tiredness, insomnia, and headaches. And I think that's everything that I wrote down. But like the tiredness and the nausea, it really like knocked me down, I guess you could say, to the point where like there was those 2 weeks where I literally did not get up for almost anything. But then after those 2 weeks, I started to feel a little bit better, but not to the point of like my normal self. And I still was sleeping a lot more than normal. Like we would go to bed at like 8 p.m. and I would wake up at like 8 to 9 a.m. So I was sleeping a lot at night, and then I was also taking naps throughout the day. So I really feel like the first trimester is a bit of a blur at this point because I slept so much and just rested. I wasn't doing any of my normal like things that I do. And my husband was amazing about helping me and trying to keep the house clean and making meals. And like I barely did any cooking during that time. I was just like on the couch, not 24/7, but close to 24/7. It was crazy. And so my husband was so wonderful taking care of me during that time. And yeah, it was a lot of resting. So that was kind of my first trimester. Obviously didn't give a ton of details on that because again, I don't want this video to get too long, but let's see. So we made our public pregnancy announcement on social media when we were about 14 weeks pregnant, I think. Yeah. And we announced on Valentine's Day. And how we did it is we bought these cute little white baby slippers, and we got a chalkboard from Dollar Tree and wrote on it, roses are red, love is sweet, our family is growing by 2 tiny feet. So I just thought that was a really cute little way to announce. So it was like a heart-shaped chalkboard, and then we got some rose balloons to kind of go with the roses are red theme. And then basically we held all of those props together, and I used my tripod to take a quick picture, and that's how we announced publicly. I was really happy with how it turned out because, like I said, I was sad that I didn't get to do a cute announcement for my husband, and I didn't get to do a cute announcement for either of our families. So I really wanted to do something cute for our public announcement. So that was really fun. And then we hadn't had any printed out ultrasound pictures because our first appointment, and I'm not going to go into this story, but basically our first appointment was around 13 weeks, basically because we were waiting for my insurance to be active before we went to the doctor. So my health insurance. And during that appointment, I didn't have like an official ultrasound. My doctor just gave me a sneak peek one with like a portable little ultrasound thing, and then it came through to her phone. So we snapped a couple pictures of it, like pictures of her phone. So for our announcement, we posted one of those pictures as well instead of holding up like the printed out ultrasound pictures. But anyway, about 2 weeks later, I think it was, February 23rd, so close to 2 weeks later, we had another doctor's appointment, and this one we had our official ultrasound to get our due date and just like the measurements and all that stuff. I had my blood work at this appointment, and when we walked into the room for the ultrasound tech said, so according to my info, you should be about 15 weeks and 3 days pregnant, right? And I was like, yep, we sure are. And she was like very shocked because obviously a lot of people come in for their first ultrasound a lot earlier than that. But anyway, she was like, wow, that's so exciting. Would you like to find out the gender today? And we were so thrilled because we had actually been praying that we could find out the gender that day because we didn't want to wait a whole nother month until our next appointment. And so we were like, yes, we want to find out. That would be wonderful. And we found out that we're having a girl. So we were both so thrilled. I cried on the ultrasound table. I was just so happy and like just couldn't describe the level of happy that I was feeling because both my husband and I really wanted to have a girl for our first baby. So we were so happy. and we named her Natalie Brooke. That's her name. And we went ahead and announced that publicly as well. We didn't decide to do a gender reveal party of any kind, so we just announced it with another cute picture that we bought a little newborn baby girl outfit, and we took a picture of us with that little dress and announced it that way. So we're really excited about that. Okay, so my first trimester nausea and headaches pretty much went away, I think around weeks 13 to 14, and it was just kind of off and on during that time. So I still had some nausea, definitely still had some headaches, but it was going away, and that was making me so happy because I could tell that like I was starting to feel more normal, which was wonderful. It was awesome. At this point, I'm still struggling with insomnia and some tiredness, not nearly as bad as it was in the first trimester, but like definitely still dealing with some tiredness and definitely the insomnia. Somewhere around 15 weeks, I finally liked coffee again. So I think I actually forgot to talk about this, but in my first trimester, I had tons of aversions to foods and drinks. One of them being coffee. And I mean, it wasn't a slight aversion. It was like I can't even think about it. I cannot look at it. I definitely can't smell it because it just made me feel so sick. And typically, as you know, if you've seen any of my videos, I love coffee. Like, I think in every video I have uploaded, like before the break, there's been some sort of coffee involved in every video. But that was really strange for me and also sad because I just got to the point where I was missing like feeling myself, and I was missing my normal routines, like having a cup of coffee in the morning. And so that was kind of hard on me because I don't know, I just missed it a lot. But at the same time, I didn't want it because it just made me feel so sick to even think about it. And then I had aversions to a ton of different things, and I had a few cravings. But basically, if I wasn't craving it, I didn't want it. So that tells you a little bit about my eating during the first trimester. It wasn't the best, wasn't the healthiest, and my poor husband had to deal with running to the store a lot to get foods that I could actually eat during that time. But anyway, around 15 weeks, maybe a little bit before, I actually wanted coffee again. And that's when I was like, okay, I think I'm starting to feel normal again because I actually want coffee, which was crazy. And weirdly enough, I only wanted drip coffee. Like, I still didn't want espresso. I think it was just too strong for me still at that point. And I just wanted like almost like weekly brewed drip coffee. So, yeah, that was kind of my slow little transition getting back to coffee drinking, and now I'm back to drinking like my cup in the morning, and then if I want some later in the afternoon, I'll have decaf. But yeah, that was super exciting, not gonna lie. Also around 15 weeks, I started noticing some of my clothes feeling a little bit tight because the bump is growing. It's still small, but it's definitely growing, and I'm noticing like my clothes feel different. They don't necessarily look too small or anything yet, but they feel different for sure. So that was also just kind of exciting to me because I am obviously really excited about the baby bump, and it seems to be growing really quickly, especially now that I'm in the second trimester. It seems to be growing a lot faster, which is just kind of exciting and fun. But let's see, other like new second trimester symptoms that I've had, not nearly as bad as first trimester, like not even close to as bad, but I have had some dizziness for sure. And that hasn't been fun because when I have like a a dizzy spell. It makes me get really, really hot, and I basically can't even see anything because my vision gets super blurry. All of you probably know what it's like to feel dizzy, but that hasn't been fun, but thankfully it hasn't happened too often. Although it did happen one morning, a Sunday morning while I was in choir, and I got really nervous because we were like singing the choir song and I felt like I was gonna pass out. And so I was like, oh, this song just has to get over soon so I can sit down again. But I didn't end up passing out, it was fine. But I get really nervous on Sunday mornings when I'm in choir now, or if I sing a special in church or something, because I'm like just praying that I don't get dizzy and pass out, because that would be awful. And then growing bump, I already talked about that. I've been so much more hungry. Like, it's actually kind of crazy to me. I didn't really expect, I mean, I knew I needed to eat a little bit extra starting in the first trimester, because I've done that research and stuff. It's only like 200 to 300 calories that you're supposed to consume above your normal diet. So it's not very much, but I've been so much more hungry than I typically am. So at this point, I pretty much eat a small breakfast, and then I'm trying to get back into working out every day. So I've been working out in the morning, and then after my workout, I'll drink a protein shake, and that's usually around 11 o'clock. And then I'll eat like a second lunch at around 1:30 to 2. So yeah, I just feel like I'm constantly hungry and constantly eating, and then I'll eat dinner and usually have an evening snack around like 8. So yeah, constant hunger for sure. And then also just getting out of breath when I talk for a long time, especially. This past Sunday morning, I taught a Sunday school class for our teen girls. We did a split session, and I just felt like I was so out of breath and I couldn't keep talking. So that's definitely something that I'm experiencing that is just kind of strange, because I've never really had that before in my life. Those are the only other symptoms that I can think of right now. But yeah, we'll just see how the rest of second trimester goes. I already love it way more than first. It's just like night and day difference. I'm definitely trying to start getting back into routines now, which has been really hard on a discipline standpoint, because I did go 2 or 3, close to 3 months of like literally sleeping all the time, resting, not doing hardly anything. And so going from that to trying to be back into my normal routines has been very, very difficult. But I'm working on it for sure, and it's getting better. So yeah, anyway, that's a little update on my second trimester. I am 17 weeks tomorrow, so that is where we're at. Yeah, second trimester has been way better than first. And then just some other random updates, not necessarily that have to do with pregnancy, is I've talked to you guys a little bit about my Mary Kay business on this channel before, and during the past 3 months, my husband and I made the decision that I will not be selling Mary Kay products anymore. Basically, I was putting a lot of work into it, and not making as much money as I would have liked to. And also, we just felt like I had too many areas that I was trying to work hard in. One of them being my YouTube channel. I really, really feel like this is something God wants me to do and to continue doing for a long time, to try to be an encouragement to stay-at-home women. I feel like that, in a way, is a ministry that the Lord has given me. And so I knew that like that's something I need to continue doing and to continue putting a lot of my time and effort into. And then also just like keeping up our home, being homekeeper, stay-at-home wife, and soon-to-be mom. And then also our ministry at the church. My husband is a youth pastor, if you don't know. So I'm a youth pastor's wife, and I really try to be as involved in the ministry as I can be and help my husband with whatever he needs. Lately, he's been kind of recruiting me to help with our social media accounts, and so I'm kind of transitioning into managing those. So basically there was just a lot of different avenues of things that I try to be heavily involved in and work hard at, and just Mary Kay kind of went to the bottom of the list, and we decided it was time for me to stop selling it. So that's a little update about like me personally. And I am still technically a Mary Kay consultant because I didn't want to give up my discount, but I'm just not actively trying to sell it, if that makes sense. So that's another random update. And that's pretty much everything that I wrote down to talk about. I have skipped a lot of things that have happened in the last couple months, but like I've said probably 6 times already in this video, I didn't want it to be like an hour long. So I just kind of wanted to give you a snapshot into the last couple of months and update you on why I've been gone. But I am back now, and Lord willing, I will be back to making videos every single week again, uploading every Friday. I am so excited to be back to this. I have missed it a lot. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then I thought I would just mention a couple of videos that you can expect to be coming soon. One of them is a spring cleaning series. So I have so much deep cleaning that I want to do in our apartment, and there's so much of it that there's no way I would get it all done in one day. So I'm going to do kind of a series of spring cleaning. So it'll be probably 3 or 4 videos on that. So if you need any motivation for spring cleaning, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and you can watch those videos coming very soon. And then other videos would be meal planning and meal prep, because I'm really trying to get back into that and just like want to be more consistent with my meal plans and my meal prep. So I'm going to be doing some videos on that soon. And then also eventually going to be doing some shopping for the baby, and eventually going to be doing some nesting videos as well. I'm 17 weeks tomorrow, and I'm already feeling the urge to like start the nesting process. And I know I need to slow myself down a little bit because we haven't even had a baby shower yet. And I know that like we're hoping to. So I know people are going to give us, you know, some gifts, and I don't know what to expect from that. So I'm trying to hold myself back from purchasing too many items for the baby until we know what we're going to receive from other people. But like once we start getting stuff, I'm going to start like working on the nursery, and I'm just so excited about when we get to that point, because it's just gonna be so fun. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to do like all the baby laundry. I did buy a little like denim jumper dress and then a denim skirt from a garage sale because I found it for like 75 cents each. And so I washed those the other day, and I just like got this huge feeling of happiness from pulling out baby clothes out of the washer. It was just like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's silly, but I just got so happy pulling that out of the washer. And so I can't wait to do like all the baby laundry and start organizing the nursery and setting that up. So those videos are definitely coming soon, and I'm just so excited again to be back to filming and uploading videos every week, and I hope you guys are excited too. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're looking forward to the videos coming in the near future. Have a great day, guys. Bye.